Well, it's not Andre Walker in the studio. Thank God for that. It's Ash.
Oh, man, yeah, I've just come to... He's a bit tired, but he's coming on. Don't worry about that.
He's a bit tired.
Yeah, you know, he just needed a little slough before the show.
Yeah.
We got Andrew Eborn on, barrister, broadcaster, Anna McGovern. We're doing a general election, you know, the petition.
Yeah.
It's not going to work, and they're going to have a talk.
I noticed there's a 285. It's over
yeah,
it
might get hit 3 million during the show. Ben Habib's left severed ties with Nigel Farage. Yeah. What's he going to do? Set up a party? Yeah. Blasphemy laws from the Hall Green MP. You know, that's where Tolkien lived as a child.
Was it?
How it's changed around. Yes, yeah, whole Millie based a lot of The Hobbit around there.
See, the thing is, you know, it was just outlandish what he said.
It's crazy, and Starmer going, oh, yes, good. And why only the Abrahamic faith? What about every faith? The Scientologists must be gutted.
And Starmer, of course, he's relying on the Muslim vote at the next election.
Well, exactly. There's already 5 MPs for Gaza. And we've got, on that, we've got the monster-raving loony party, Finn Adams, is coming on because a Labour MP was slammed for drinking milk in Parliament.
Oh, quite right, too. I'm glad you've got a proper representative of the political elite coming on. Stick with Ash and Andre. They'll take you through till 1 a.m. You've been an amazing audience. I've been a mediocre presenter. I'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Be there.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk, and this is the Late Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould. OK, well, the total number of signatures, nearly 2.9 million on the petition to have a general election. The government will respond if 10,000 people sign the petition, so obviously that's coming. But also the Backbench Business Committee have accepted the petition and have said that they will have a debate on the subject on the 6th of January. We're told that Nigel Farage is attending. That's going to be pretty good, isn't it, Asher?
Yeah, very interesting, yeah.
OK, this show is driven by our guest co-hosts, and today we've got Andrew Eborn, who's a barrister and futurist and broadcaster. Don't give me that smile.
Like Mystic Meg, a futurist.
What's wrong with you?
No, nothing. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I love the fact that this petition is going to be on January the 6th. So I reckon all the fancy dress things with the horns is going to be hard out. You remember January the 6th in the US, it's Thanksgiving Day today. Yeah. And the whole storming of that sort of stuff when Trump didn't win the election last time, apparently.
Yes.
This is it. Yeah, January the 6th is now going to reoccur.
Oh, people kept saying to me on my YouTube channel, well, we all know what happened on January the 6th.
Exactly, that's what they meant.
Yeah, but I didn't know what happened on January.
I will explain your comments on your station.
The storming of the Capitol building.
Yes.
Right, with Jamiroquai. Do you remember he was at the front?
That's what I was going to say.
No, let's just be clear.
That was not Jamiroquai.
It wasn't the actual Jamiroquai.
It was an impersonator. Very good one.
Made of virtual intent.
Brilliant stuff. There you go. I've also been sent, what have we got? We've got one of these as well. Here we go. Just for the sake of the camera, any resemblance to any other presenters on this programme is purely coincidental.
What do you think?
That's the eagle from the Muppets. It looks good.
Asher to me looks like a Chewbacca.
Yeah, but it's since the cutbacks, you know, we have to do our own makeup. Things go wrong.
Chewbacca, by the way, do you remember, Chewbacca was the victim of racism, wasn't he?
Yes.
Because he didn't get a medal at the end of Star Wars.
Wookieism.
Yeah,
it was completely woke because it was woke.
Luke and Han got a medal, whereas Chewbacca didn't.
Well, it is interesting, and they're doing a whole new Disney series as well. I've been invited to the premiere in a couple of days' time.
Can I come?
Yes, you can. You're always welcome. You're always welcome to these sort of glorious things. But they're doing the whole Disney now. They're going back to doing like 4 kids going on an intergalactic exploration as a result.
But they've bastardised them. All the old Star Wars fans, they've changed a bit with digital, you know, CGI, and people are like pirating the original. You should do that. Never do that.
Well, it's
there are people who've literally taken the original Star Wars and re-edited it. So I've got to be honest with you, my nephew went to Harry Potter World and he got onto you know, like a broomstick or something, and they did this, you know, video of him, but it wasn't very well edited. So I said to him, it was my Tommy Hilfiger moment.
Yes.
I said to him, give that to me. So I downloaded it and re-edited it and made it a better
version. Because normally it's brilliant, and it's dead easy to do because you're against this green screen, give away the secrets, and you sit on this little stick, and you can look amazing.
The problem with that Harry Potter thing, if you edit it, you can edit Harry Potter in to be with you and stuff.
Okay, well that's good.
So yeah. By the way, I say it's my Tommy Hilfiger moment because apparently somebody told me, and I forget which company it was, but
Tommy
Hilfiger's daughter really liked a particular type of designer clothes.
Sandra Hilfiger.
And Tommy literally didn't think the clothes were particularly well made, so got her to get a catalogue, get a photo of it, and then he'd make his own version of the dress.
So this is why you do it for Harry Potter. So anybody else, apart from it was your nephew, didn't you say? So anybody other than your nephew, if you're not happy with your Harry Potter thing, send it in to Andre. He will sort it out.
Nice one, yeah.
He'll re-edit your Harry Potter. But on a serious note, I mean, look, you're not massively party political. In fact, I don't think you're party political at all. I'm completely neutral because I had to speak to everybody from every side.
It swings all ways.
But what about? But you must accept that things have gone really badly for this government. I mean, things went badly for the last government, but there just seems to be no love for Keir Starmer at all.
Well, it's a tissue, bless you, of lies, and I think this is the problem. You look back to the election promises when you say we're not going to tax the ordinary folk, and I pointed out at the time, clearly weasel words. So what do? National insurance goes up, the drip-down effect as a result of it, people paying more, farmers...
Kill 4,500 pensioners.
Starmer, the farmer harmer, you're turning around on that sort of basis. You're doing that. You've got the VAT on school fees. He's not a popular chap. As you know, I have Errol Musk on my show every day, and I was talking about it because Elon is now, he loves the UK. He grew up on Monty Python. That's where he got his sense of humour. But he says the UK is just a joke at the moment with Starmer in charge. He says Starmer's got to step aside.
We're in the third tier of freedom, by the way. There's 3 tiers, and we're now in the where there's government authoritarianism, lack of democracy. We're actually officially in the lowest, the third tier.
Is that what we are? Is that like the 7 Seas? Wasn't there a song there somewhere?
It's worse than that.
I want to ask you about the Transport Secretary.
Yes.
And just to understand this, and Andrew, don't jump in early. I want to ask you if this has ever happened to you.
Go on then.
Have you ever had a job in which you were given a work mobile phone, you were mugged, and you accidentally didn't realise that the thieves didn't steal the mobile phone, then you left it off in your house for 2 months, got a new mobile phone from work, and then turned it on before you mentioned it to your employer, then... When the police suggested that you might have stolen the phone, you did a no-comment interview and pleaded guilty, even though you're innocent.
It is an extraordinary story, and it's all come out now.
She's talking rubbish, isn't she?
Well, it is interesting, and I'm a big advocate because people do plea bargains and stuff like that. But the evidence that you presented, if that's correct, it's bizarre. How do you forget that you've got your phone?
It's the first thing you look for after a robbery if you've still got it.
Absolutely, and you do that sort of stuff. And so I get it. So either when she switched it on, the first call she should have made is, actually, before she switched it on, she should have turned around and said, I've got my phone, thank goodness for that. But actually, all these phones are insured and other bits and pieces anyway. But it's all about the optics.
I'll tell you what's quite interesting, Andrew, and I'm not sure whether I'm right in saying this, but if the police were tracking the phone, then... one would assume it must have gone off at the time of the robbery.
Well, you would have thought so.
So is it just possible? Look, actually, she's pleaded guilty, so we can say that she's a phone thief, right? We can say that without any trouble.
She admitted it when
you can say that she says she's a phone thief. She may not be.
Right. No, she was convicted in court and admitted it.
Anyway, she admitted it. Anyway,
But the point is, why was it turned off? Could it have been that she turned it off?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So great question. So where did the mugging take place? You don't normally switch your phone off unless you're in here. You don't necessarily switch your phone off. So you're absolutely right.
So if she'd have reported where the phone was, they would have gone, oh yeah, the phone's still in your handbag.
Yeah, it's still in your hand. You're on it at the moment, reporting it.
Unless you, I mean, I have to say to you, I'll tell you what it sounds like to me.
Yes.
What it sounds like is I've had there is no dispute that the mugging took place. There's no dispute about the mugging taking place. I think it was a case of this is a good way to get a free mobile phone as a bit of de facto compensation for.
Why didn't the muggers find the phone then?
Well, she probably didn't have it on her.
Right, okay.
Well, no, but then that's the whole switching off thing routine. She must have had it on. Nobody leaves home without it.
No, she has 2 phones, a personal phone and a work phone.
I see, okay.
I don't know. I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I think her claim that she is completely innocent, I think carries no veracity, really.
Well, especially if you pleaded guilty, so you've got to turn around. Why didn't you get her on the show? I know she's probably here. Phone in now on that phone, and you could be on the show. You can.
What number would we get her on?
And I bet she's got
a personal mobile.
By the way, now she's got a work phone for the government. I bet if she ever lost it, she wouldn't be able to. She'd have to just personally pay for it. Mind you, she's got what might be described as flame red hair. There's a
flame
picture.
Red hair. Here's the poll. 2.881 is like telephone, isn't it?
Do you remember the minister at Clapham Common that got mugged at night and they took some important documents and he apologised with a little thing on his hand in a press conference? He wrote, "I'm sorry" on his hand. And he sort of had a little...
How many fingers did he have?
He had a mental breakdown. Was it Ron Pearce? Ron Pearson?
No.
Ron Davis?
Ron Davis.
Yeah, the
Ron Davis, when he later admitted that whilst he was bisexual, he liked bird watching at night on Clapham Common.
Is that right?
Some great bats.
Unbelievable. He got robbed. I'm not joking. He had his mobile phone stolen by a Rastafarian gentleman.
Is that right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Others are available.
It was in a cruising area.
No, but he was in a cruising area, but he was interested in bird watching.
He thought it actually meant cruising. He was looking to buy a
This is like Magic Mike all over again.
It is all right. And this is the week when celebrities are all coming out in all sorts of things. We've got non-binary celebrities coming out now on that sort of basis.
David Williams.
David Williams, an unfortunate vowel movement. So Williams as opposed to Williams. The reality is exactly that. So
hang on. What's David Williams claiming?
Have you not? So he's come out.
Oh, you know. Are you sitting down, Andre? Are you sitting down?
One of the comments on your YouTube channel, I'll translate all of them for you. He's come out as non-binary in the last 24 hours.
He's decimal.
Have you seen those videos of his tour where he on stage pulls young men's trousers down and dry humps them?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Is there a website you want to refer people to?
Is that AI thing?
To my mind, it's nothing other than a sort of sexual assault licensed because it's a party.
Yeah. He did it to Ronson, didn't he?
Mark Ronson. Yeah, he was very upset.
He nearly got his pants down. By the way, that's live numbers: 2.8 million, nearly 2.9 million. We might hit 3 million. Who do you want? If you had a vote now in a general election, which isn't going to happen, but if it did, and we all dream it did, who would you vote for? Who would you vote for?
What I love, I'll tell you what I love, is this.
Give us a ring on that, by the way.
It is like the telethon, isn't it? This is totally like it. We should have a little surprise. You do, both of you do great.
No, that wasn't the telethon. You're getting mixed up with your phone-in shows.
Oh, that's right. But you used to make lots of money.
Lenny Henry,
remember, Surprise
Katanga.
was sponsored by Talking Telephones.
That's what I'm saying. And Talking Telephones
from BT.
And I love
Life is full of surprises. It's surprising how dreams come. Do you know the best thing about Surprise?
Yes.
Was when what they do is it's Sunday night. It's December.
It's Sunday night.
And Bob Carrollgees is out and about in northern Scotland.
He was
right.
We spit the dog.
Knocks on the door, in broad daylight. Yes. Oh, Bob Carrollgees is live. Oh, is he really? So he's taken a satellite trip to a truck to Elgin, has he? But anyway, right. So knocks on the door. The door opens. The woman's in a ball gown going, oh, hello, Bob. What a surprise to see you. Oh, surprise, you put a mic on as well.
By the way, if Bob Carrollgees is listening, because years ago I asked this about, and he did call in. So he had a candle shop. He said it was the biggest candle shop in the northwest. So Bob, if you're listening, give us a bell 034499 1000. We want to catch up with Carrollgees.
Hey, catch up with Carrollgees. That would be great.
Good show.
I was telling you earlier, I used to do the warm up for Cilla Black. Group was only over the road.
How'd you warm Cilla up?
Well, up to warm hands. It's got to be good. That's what we used to do at LWT Studio. We loved it.
Somebody told me about Cilla that you could take the girl out of Liverpool if it wasn't nailed down. She nicked it from the studio.
She did apparently in the handbag. She used to go home with some of the stuff.
Somebody told me
some of the things.
Somebody told me that whenever she was somebody told me that she never ever let them keep the towels from the hotel. She'd always had the towels off.
By the way, Bob Carroll, you've just done some research. He sold the candle shop. He's retired. But give us a ring, Bob. Tell us how retirement's going.
How good are they in the gallery?
I think he auctioned Spit the Dog.
He did?
I think he did. I remember hearing about
about 10 of them. There are about 10 of them.
Yeah, but just make a new one.
Yes.
$5,000 it made.
Did it make $5,000?
Christie's. Linford Christie.
My favourite ever was Rod Hull when so Rod Hull was a very lovely man apparently. He wasn't weird or anything like that.
Not at all weird.
But somebody said to him apparently at High TV, they said, Rod, what you have to remember, in legal terms that is your hand. Right? So when the emu grabs somebody's private parts, it is legally your hand.
Yes. Right? And Glorious one was Parkinson.
Apparently he was going, don't insult the emu, and they go, no, it's your hand, it's your hand.
Chuck was the last man to get groped by him.
Well, the very were you?
Genuinely was.
Oh, look, we're looking.
He does go between the legs, but that's emu. That's what birds will do.
I have to say, some of the best videos I've seen recently. Oh, Chuck, when he was on telly and doing that sort of stuff. Yeah. Check out his social media because it's brilliant.
Do you know what makes me laugh is so Chuck Thomas, the producer, is basically a comedy producer.
Very funny producer.
Who just came here in his old age, basically. and he's the one kicking off about the fact that we should be talking about the petition.
Oh, I thought we were. It is like the telephone, but we slowed down now.
There's not enough of Bob Carroll.
We're going to get to 3 million. 3 million by the end of the show, I reckon.
Yeah, Keir Starmer. And the guy, the publican in... it was Albury, wasn't it?
It was. The coach and wagons. The wagon and horses
Wagon
is what
and
it's
horses,
called.
yeah.
Albury, it's a pub there, and it's apparently the cheapest pub in Britain.
£2 something a pint.
£2.61 a pint. I'll take you there for the after-show party. We'll have a curry. A brilliant place. So well done him for basically shining a spotlight on the lunacy that's going on at the moment.
If it ever got to like 10 million, I mean, that would be very serious because that's about the amount of people that voted for him.
They're arguing that they can't really tell whether somebody's doing it properly.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you. I'm very suspicious about this. There was some analysis done where they reckoned that 1% of them were overseas.
Yes.
But obviously, overseas people could still be British nationals.
No, of course they can.
I have to say, I think it's getting a bit tiresome, the whole Russian bots did it.
Oh, yeah, no,
it's just a go-to excuse for everything.
And we can dispel all of it. You know, I do a series called...
Well, he's a futurologist.
I am,
like
and I
Mystic
also do this thing called Andrew Eborn's Fake or Fact, where we look at this, and you can tell at the bottom of this petition, I urge people to do it, click on it, it shows you where all the votes are coming from, because they can basically geo-lock it and IP, sort of that sort of stuff, work out where it is. So you can see the majority are in the UK. What clearly happens, it's a message to the government. You're right, 10,000, they had to give a response, 100,000, they may debate it, there's no obligation, but they're going to do it now on the 6th of Jan. The reality is they've got no obligation at all to turn around and call a general election, and they're probably not going to.
Well, let me tell you this.
Yeah, but the poll tax brought, do you remember, there are things...
Well, let me tell you this. Keir Starmer is one of the most successful prime ministers ever in terms of his majority, but he's one of the least popular.
Yes.
This man has risen without trace. He's never, ever been subject to the scrutiny that other politicians have been subject to. So I say right now, let's hit 3 million by the end of the show. And if we hit 3 million, then I will personally go to Downing Street.
With the horns.
With the horns.
On the 6th of January, you'll be there.
No, I won't. He's not there. He's at his penthouse in Covent Garden, I think.
Oh, with Lord Ali. Hey. I have to say, do you know the best thing about the Lord Ali thing and Keir Starmer? There is no suggestion they're doing anything, but everyone thinks they're having an affair, don't they? Everybody literally...
I'd like to withdraw it now, yeah.
but everyone keeps going. Everyone keeps... Now, let me tell you one thing about Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer is selfish. That's why he borrowed Lord Ali's flat.
Well, also,
there is no sexual angle.
He says, it was to protect my son during his GCSEs, whereas all the ones in private school who's going to be kicked out is going to ruin their GCSEs, so don't care about that.
Also, let me just say this to the whole world. The problem isn't men. Okay, so...
Apparently, allegedly, my lord.
Allegedly.
I thank you all.
You look round to see if I got dumped.
It's going to be good. Absolutely. Work on that basis. I thank you.
Oh, how is the wife anyway?
Amazing, amazing. What a thrill. Keep up productivity in the UK. That's what we say.
Reproductivity.
Yeah, well, we've all met people like that. I'll only stay with you if you buy me a few new dresses. but anyway.
What about Gregg Wallace stepping down from MasterChef? Shocking.
I love the way if you've watched or listened to this show on a regular basis, it's very clear what's happened to Keir Starmer because we've dropped that many hints.
Well, what I loved, we did this, we spoke about it, and the woke that was when we were down in the studio. We're sort of talking about that sort of stuff and when's it going to break and so on and so forth. Yeah. And so speculation. This is the problem. Whenever you don't give out information, people rush to fill the vacuum.
What we need to ask Lord Ali is, will he loan the flat to all of Keir Starmer's children?
All of his children. Yes, absolutely. Always a joy.
How many's he got now?
Well, probably as many as Elon Musk.
Well, Boris had a load, didn't he, that we didn't sort of know about?
Well, he's got loads. Absolutely. He's not even sure.
He doesn't even know.
No, exactly. But it is interesting. It is interesting. And I think productivity. And I think there's a. I
love the way he's changing the subject.
I'm keeping this so off compliant. I'm so good.
That's the Boris in him thinking, don't talk about the kids.
It's always a thrill.
Don't talk about the women.
But you work on the basis. People fill the vacuum. And you mentioned that there's another bits and pieces as well. You've got Gregg Wallace. You mentioned about Gregg Wallace because that's in the news. Yeah. And I think the problem is this: we rush in the media to basically be trial by media is wrong.
Well, because they won't do it. The BBC have only given out things when the Sun or this time the Telegraph have exposed it, when they've already know. So it takes the press. It shows the importance of the press.
Before we go to the break,
yes,
I just want to ask the two of you this question.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Isn't the real problem with Keir Starmer? I mean, it's very clear listening to this broadcast what I think.
Really?
Is wrong with Keir Starmer.
He's just not a leader. He's a weak. He's a legal man.
But let me just say this. Let me just say this. I think it is the whole issue of what I describe as having risen without trace. Yeah. This man has not been subject to any scrutiny. We don't know about all the background. The rumours about him, we don't know if they're true or not.
No, that spy and all that sort of stuff. The interesting thing is, though, that every time now they couldn't talk about the CPS, and so when they're looking back at these criminal things, you've got Mohammed Al-Fayed and the horrible evidence that's coming out now. You'd look about Savile and what happened there or didn't happen there. You have all these sort of things. So he was head of the CPS. So the spotlight is shone again.
He knew about cover-ups back then, sort of thing, didn't he? And now it's always like he's practised in it.
But you made a brilliant point.
Did I?
What he always does is goes, I didn't read that particular document or wasn't involved in that particular case.
Plausible deniability.
Well,
it's a legal thing, isn't it? He's all about the law.
All about the optics is what it is.
There's
okay. Well, okay, we're going to go to a break now. Can't believe we mentioned the women. Okay. Plural. Okay, so let's go to
Give us a ring, by the way, 034991000.
We may be back. Yeah. We may be back after the break. We may be back. Maybe off air by then.
Find out.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Well, the former deputy leader of Reform UK, Ben Habib, has left Reform UK. He's given up. But he has said that if Nigel wants to put his arm around him, he would have, so he would do it. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go with the clip.
Surely you'd have been in a far better position to do that in a political party rather than...
Not in a political party controlled by one man. If you're standing for the democratically... If you're standing for the constitutional democratic unit that is the United Kingdom, and you keep banging on about democracy, and you say the British people must have the right to direct the government properly, you can't then say, I don't trust my own people to direct the party.
It seems to me the problem here now is you would rather sort of sling mud at reform. You could just
I'm not slinging any mud at reform.
Well, you are, aren't you? You're saying that the party won't democratise. You're sort of...
Well, but they haven't. They said they would do it. A constitution was produced. I was told that, the world was told that the finest legal minds in the United Kingdom were working on that constitution. Actually, when it was produced, it was a document that had already been rejected by me 18 months earlier. There were minor tweaks, and I'd be surprised if any half-decent legal mind even had a look at it, let alone wrote the document. These are big issues. These are big issues, Alex.
Well, they might think that the biggest issues are trying to organise the party to fight in the forthcoming local elections, and they can deal with reforming the constitution at a later date.
He's had enough. I mean, at the start he'd had enough, and then they did change the constitution, but Farage is still in charge, and Ben's had enough. Is he going to set up his own thing?
What I love is this very studio has got the DNA of Ben Habib and also Richard Tyson, so on and so forth. Yeah. So Reform was virtually born here. So we love it on that sort of basis. Thank you. Last time we didn't thank you, and I was told by lots of people that you come in here trying to avoid the camera. So thank you for the drinks. It's glorious to see you.
The
woke rabbit without his outfit on. It's like Bob Carroll G's.
He doesn't on camera anymore. He's just gone back to being a normal rabbit.
He normally comes on camera. He managed to avoid it.
How many times can we weave Bob Carroll G's into the conversation?
And then he comes on. I love it. No, poor old Ben. And Ben was so eloquent. He's such a brilliant politician. He was.
Do you think that's why Nigel was scared? Because he was one man who could actually challenge Nigel.
Reform was born here. I've had the joy of being in the studio with a number of Reform politicians, including the great David Bull. I used to do his show regularly as well.
Catch him at the weekend breakfast on
Dr. David Bull was here. Ben Habib, I've shared many a studio with. Nigel, I can't mention the other channel. But yes, all of those sort of people you work on that sort of basis. So there's lots of characters there, but they're forceful characters. And going back to the poll, because I know we want to talk about the poll, the reality is that Nigel, you remember probably seeing on the TV programme earlier this week, they turned around and said that Keir Starmer is now less popular than Nigel Farage. You're working on that sort of basis.
Which is ridiculous, because he was probably the most popular politician of the moment.
He was. He went on.
That was Andy Peters, a fool.
Andy Peters?
Yeah, he's still going. Can you believe it? This morning
he's taking over
that terrible, like, children's play school interview with Keir Starmer, and they didn't ask him, and what's her name? Cat
Go through the square window.
And they asked him ridiculous questions. They didn't even challenge him on why are you killing all these old people? That's what this morning.
I thought the only thing Andy Peters did was went to the CD factory when the X Factor was on its final show, and they go, Andy Peters will decide which one it's going to be.
Andy Peters is a lovely broadcaster, and he does all the competition. He's got a wonderful energy. I like broadcasters with energy. But you're right, the interview was not necessarily the best interview that could have been done on that sort of stage.
Embarrassing.
But talking about Keir Starmer was embarrassed sitting on that turquoise sofa.
Well, he's embarrassed anyway. I think that's why he doesn't go out. I think he's become sociophobic, you know, because he gets called, you know, the W word. He just wants to be in full control as well. So that's why he's always out of the country.
Well, yes, it is interesting.
Because he knows if he goes out, everyone's going to shout.
Right,
and rightfully
I just
so.
want to ask one thing about the Reform UK Constitution, and I've made this point before. People who join parties like Reform and UKIP are contrarians.
Yes.
Right. Therefore, you probably do need quite a robust constitution that defends the leader. Because the problem is, I mean, I get it all the time when...
You're our leader.
You know, when somebody... No, but when like, as an example... you know, Richard Tice was disparaging about Tommy Robinson, then suddenly everyone hated Richard Tice. I'm not saying that they were wrong to do it. I'm just saying that people expect you to be so purist when you're in that movement that if you say one thing that's wrong, they suddenly hate you and it causes problems.
They see a weakening in
and
position.
It's difficult, isn't it? If you are a politician with opinions.
A balancing act.
You can't please everybody, because you've got to turn around and say, look, this is what I believe in.
Yeah, but Thatcher just did what she thought, and that's a conviction policy. You don't care what other people say.
Like Thatcher. We need more people like Trump.
Is Badenoch, she's a sort of fake Thatcher. I don't believe.
A fake Thatcher.
I sort of don't believe that.
I thought Badenoch's speech on immigration was just shite.
Well, if I'm being honest. Well, they always thought, is she going to be the next Mrs. T? And they weren't sure whether the next T was going to be Thatcher.
She wouldn't be in the ACH.
Thatcher or Liz Truss. That was the thing. Time will tell. But she was quite good. She's done a couple of good PMQs.
She can hammer Starmer at PMQs.
But that's not difficult.
Exactly.
I think most people can hammer Starmer.
It's interesting to see. But Jenrick actually said we're going to pull out the ECHR, and she sort of dithered. And immediately then I thought, oh dear.
And did you see Starmer today talking about immigration and all that sort of stuff?
And they've left us in a terrible
blame everybody else, absolutely.
Yeah, but here's the weird thing about it. The Conservatives failed to curb immigration, but Labour are in favour of virtually uncontrolled immigration. So when you sat there going, the Conservatives have failed, you think, well, they haven't really. They've succeeded in
carried on with Blairism.
It
was Blairism that started the immigration. They've obviously taken it to another level. And Starmer's...
I mean, $1 million a year, though.
He's going to cut it to about 750,000. That's no good.
You have to have the same rhetoric as Trump has, and basically saying, but clarify it's illegal immigrants who you're targeting, and say, look, we just...
They say irregular.
Well, you've got to work on that basis. Get rid of the murderers first and work on that sort of basis.
Do you know...
And those who eat the swans, get rid of them.
At the last census, I'm quite jealous of that, actually.
What, eating a swan?
Yeah.
We were talking about that earlier.
Apparently they're not very nice anyway.
Well, in certain states in America, like Utah, it is legal. In this country, you can't. It's illegal. In New York, it's illegal. We were talking at Christmas time.
The king owns all the swans, by the way.
Well, no, that's not true. Fake or fact. Only the mute swans, which are unregistered. And it's a common misconception.
You don't see many of them.
Yeah, because don't the work for company of Waterman.
Yeah, they're swan upping.
And they do swan upping. Is exactly right. They have to count the swans and they weigh them. And
well, how do they know if they talk or not? Do they say hello? And if they don't say anything... Oh, he's not one of Charles's. Pass on, you don't have to be registered.
Yes, but see, I talk to the plants and they're on mute.
Can Charles eat the swans? Because there is swans, of course he can.
No, he can't. The law applied... We're just spelling all sorts of myths. Even the royal family are not allowed to do. In the olden times, that's what used to happen. You used to put the bird within a bird within a bird, didn't you?
I've seen that video.
And that sort of stuff. You could have done that.
Right, so you know what I'm eating on Christmas Day? I've decided
you can eat the corgis, apparently.
I've decided to have a 6-bird roast.
Great band.
So 6-bird roast.
Go on, then.
is a partridge stuffed into a pheasant.
I'm glad you went there
Stuffed
instead.
into a guinea fowl.
Yes.
Stuffed into a duck.
Yes.
Stuffed into a chicken.
Yes.
Stuffed into a turkey. So when you slice
Sounds like
it,
a human centipede.
so when you slice it, you get all 6 meats.
Exactly what you do. And it used to be even bigger than that. You can go all the way up to an ostrich and all the way down to a hummingbird.
Isn't it a bit rich?
You have to be very rich to buy it. But it was worth it. And it used to be the 3-bird one with a turkey, a duck and a goose. It was a turducken is what they used to call it.
And they used to, the 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in it. But they used to actually put living birds and open the pie and they'd fly out.
Oh, no,
I wouldn't want to eat that with all the bird crap in it. You know
and
what
we
I mean?
should get back to this. Meals were far more theatrical. Nowadays, most people sitting and listening will be listening all in their own little world. Yeah. We can bring back families.
Oh my God!
Having more theatre. What is it?
Fortnum and Mason sell a 10-bird roast.
Yay! God, who's in that?
Right. Who's in it? Okay. Let's have a look at the 10-bird roast.
Go on then.
Oh no, I think it's been discontinued.
Well, it would be.
Yeah.
A 10-bird roast.
Unfortunately, they had those protests in there. Imagine if they did that now. They'd do.
I want to know what's in a 10-bird roast.
You've got to work. I do hope they finish on an ostrich.
We'll tell you. Stay tuned, and we'll give us a ring. By the way,
Fortnum and Masons have said it's the 6 we've already come. No, they've added mallard and pigeon.
Mallard and pigeon, but the pigeon's a bit smaller.
It's got too many bones in it.
No, but the very small ones. That's what I used to do. There you go.
All right, we'll be back in a moment.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Stop, quiet.
Silence in the studio.
We've got Beanhead in. Right. Okay.
Beanhead in.
So, let me tell you what a 12-bird roast is.
Go on, then.
They take a turkey.
Yes.
They put inside it a goose.
Goose.
Inside a goose, they put a chicken.
Chicken.
Inside the chicken, they put a pheasant.
Pheasant.
Inside the pheasant, they put a partridge.
Partridge.
Inside the partridge, they put a pigeon.
Pigeon.
Inside the pigeon, they put a duck.
Duck.
Inside the duck, they put another type of duck.
Another duck.
First one's an Aylesbury duck. The second one is a Barbary duck.
Barbary.
Then they put inside a poussin.
A poussin.
Poussin. What is
poussin?
it?
Poussin is like a small chicken. I'll teach you everything this time. It's like a little bird, and it sounds much better in French. It's like a little chicken.
Then they put guinea fowl.
Guinea fowl.
Mallard.
Mallard.
And quail.
Bird and mallard. That's only 11.
But a mallard's
Don't go through the list again. That's a mallard's one.
Yeah, they were.
That was 11.
It was 11. I counted with you. Don't do the list again. It's only 11. That's what happened.
All right.
Star will put VAT on it. They'll put another 20%, and you're covered.
Well, when Fortnum and Masons last sold that, it came with 8 different types of stuffing.
8 different types. Oh no, but that's right. You put it in between each one. And what they used to do, talking about theatricality, when you opened it up, when you got to the inner one, then the bird would come out and woo, and off you go on that sort of basis, which is
There'd be a real bird in there.
A real bird at the end, because
it's like that film. What was it? Was it Under Siege?
Yes.
Where the woman in the cake.
Oh, wouldn't that be brilliant? Or you could have a whole Hitchcock thing going on here as well.
Okay.
What, have you brought your bean gimp in?
I should have. Today, ladies and gentlemen,
You've got the bean cake.
No one ever gets it right.
Management.
Yes. Barmy Brunch. Good
This is
to see you.
Baked Beanhead from the Monster Raving Looney Party.
is he?
So you were saying a second ago that when you ran against Jacob Rees-Mogg, you didn't have to change your name by default. But you know, in Brazil, you can have any name you want, and somebody once ran as Barack Obama. But somebody else, I think the mayor of Sao Paulo for many years was called the Angel of Peace.
Oh, is that right? How glorious is that?
That's great, isn't it?
Or none of the above. You could work on that basis.
Well, that's it. Well, that's this party. No, we are none of the
Why have you got a tomato on your nose, though, if you're Mr. Biss? And you've got a sausage
It's Barmy
smile.
Brunch. It's a Barmy Brunch.
And I tell you what, now that we're up close,
Always
brilliant.
put HP in the beans, though. It brings out the flavour.
But what I love, you got your bacon on your ears,
Yes,
which
bacon
is
on the
good.
ears.
You got your eggs for your eyes.
That's it.
No, they are his actual ears. Used to be a boxer. But what?
I should be over at Talk Sport.
There's a big milk store. Some MP was caught drinking milk, and apparently that's illegal.
It is illegal.
Tell us the
Well,
story.
you must have heard of it.
Yes.
The MP drinking milk in the House of Commons.
Well, outrageous. No. Well, here is that.
There's what. There we have. I'll have that. I should just down it.
Can you get it through there?
Right, if I can drink all
This
of
is
that.
going to go all over me. Go on.
Don't drink that. That's Mr. T. That's Mr. T's milk. It'll knock you out.
The birds. Here we go. Look at him. Go. Bean. This is much slower than I thought. Come on. We'll go to a break. No, we won't. How you doing?
There we are. That's
Anyway, what is the story about milk?
Well, yes. So he was caught drinking milk in the House of Commons.
Outrageous.
Do we name him?
Yes.
In the
Name and shame.
I don't understand the problem.
So, well, that's the thing. What is the problem? It turns out
he might spill it on the furniture.
He might spill
it could be that spillage. There
you can only drink.
There was. You cannot have spillage. You cannot take your McDonald's.
You can only drink in the budget like alcohol, can't you? You can only drink during. There's a special for the chancellor.
You have to do the things.
So you're saying it was the seats?
Yeah, I mean, I'm making it up. I don't know that at all.
But it's quite. No. Don't never tell people you're making.
Well, I thought they might be saving it for Santa.
Oh, come on, they could save it for Santa. Finish it.
Finish it. Come on.
Because it will look good in the edit, and then we'll make it look as though you did it in about 2 seconds.
I got caught once when I worked in Parliament on the Piers staircase.
Yes.
The traditional punishment for being a commoner there, not uninvited, is death.
Yes, it's the same here at Talk. If you're on the Piers staircase, Piers getting really upset. You've got to work on that.
I sat on the back bench of the House of Commons once, and the man shouted at me.
Hang on, here's another one. Here's another one. Keep it going.
All right, here we go.
This is a new game show. Come on, Beanie. You can do better this time. Keep going.
We'll get you another one if you don't do this one.
You can do this in under 5. We'll get you another. Keep going.
Come on, faster.
5,
faster.
4, 3, 2, 2.5.
Oh my God, he's had 1.5. He's had 2.
2 pints of milk.
Wow, fantastic. There you go.
Right, my mate Steve has just got in touch to say, what the hell is going on?
Right, get the yard of milk. We'll have a yard of milk.
Oh, have you ever done a yard of ale? It's quite hard.
I
did it in Guernsey, and I came second.
And what about the yard of ale?
2 people took part.
Well, no, it was all of Guernsey. It turns out they have this beer sort of festival. It's a lovely place.
Guernsey, I did for their whatever it is, the remembrance. Not the remembrance.
I did for a programme.
No, I did. I used to compare down in Guernsey. It's a glorious place.
Did you fly?
What were you comparing?
I swam. I compared people who could drink milk to yards of ale.
Go compare. My dad was deported from Guernsey.
Was he? Where was he deported
I think he was deported from the Isle of Man. He said he once danced on the table in the Isle of Man when he was about 20, and they deported him from the country.
I got thrown out of an Irish pub in Hampstead for eating biscuits. I was eating a digester and goes, don't eat any more biscuits in here. And I sneaked to another one, and he went, 1 more biscuit and you're out of here.
Oh, very
and I
good.
actually did get thrown out.
You did get thrown out?
Did they, Matt?
Oh, no.
Beanhead and Andrew.
Milk.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, my God.
Go!
Hang on. Stop, everyone. Stop. Please stop. Can we just remind ourselves it's a radio show? People have no idea what's going on. Right.
I finished quickly.
Beanface and Eborn have been given a pint of milk.
They're having milk off, and who can drink a pint quicker? But Beanhead has already had 2.
I came here to talk about snowmen, and I'm here drinking milk.
I've got 2, Dad. You've got none.
Snowman, they're changing because of wokery. What they're changing.
So this has been going on for about a decade.
No, sorry, but snowmen are racist. They're all white.
Well,
apart from the yellow ones.
Well, it turns out the song
in the morning. Dad, why is our snowman yellow? Oh God, it's Uncle Rick again.
Uncle Rick again.
Sorry, what about the song? You're saying about the song?
So you can't. You know the songs with snow. Well, that one.
Yes.
And of course, Frosty the Snowman.
Yes.
They're looking at changing it because man.
It's sexist.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
And it doesn't have a penis.
So what would they change it to?
Well,
what does if you move the carrot?
Snow
Pal. What would they change it to?
Snow Pal is the option.
Snow Pal?
P-A-L. Pal, like pen
Why not
pal.
Snow Person? Like chairperson.
Well, person, there's I think person, there's a problem around that.
Why?
I know
it upsets dogs, but pal is okay for dogs.
Person, because not everyone I don't know, actually. I think person.
Yeah, some people aren't persons now. They're
That's it.
That's it. We can identify as
marrying roller coasters in America.
So who's suggesting this, then?
So it's been going on for a decade.
For a decade?
It's the sort of crowd that, I could say a lot of things there, but essentially, as we get to nearly Christmas, we all want to sing about
There was a friend of mine who went on a teachers' forum, and now I will admit one thing: he didn't know whether this was true or a wind-up, but he said it was on a private forum that only teachers go on, and somebody said, we have had a complaint into our school that because Muslims do not believe Jesus is the Son of God, is it a hate crime to allow us to sing Christmas carols?
Well, and it is outrageous.
I'd say yes.
Well, it is these hate crimes, but also the non-crime hate incidents.
And one of those.
Scandal.
Put that on as well.
We've had 13,000.
Throw the key away.
No, like somebody smells of beans. You can say that.
Hang on a second.
You have just committed one, actually. They're on their way.
We were talking about Live Aid,
yes.
Band-Aid.
40 years.
Can you imagine Band-Aid going to a Muslim country and going, let them know it's Christmas time? They'll be bloody fighting you in the streets. Don't let them know it's Christmas time. Tell them it's Eid and give them a couple of quid. That's what you have to do.
So you're here to announce that you're joining Reform?
No, I think that would be. I think I would not be doing my party.
Are you not going to do the Ben Habib?
Well, if I jump ship, I think it's one of these things where once one party, you stay one party.
Is that right?
I'm loyal to the.
Like Robert Mugabe, one party.
Well, we do take our inspiration.
I'm a friend of mine. Do you know what? A lovely guy called Liam Maxwell, who was a teacher at Eton College and also the councillor for Eton. By the way, Eton used to be my favourite council seat because what used to happen was there were 250 Eton College young men who could vote.
Yes.
Right? If the election was during term time, the Conservatives used to win. Outside term time, the Liberal Democrats used to win. But the Tory council was a guy called Liam Maxwell, and he claimed he was the only Conservative politician in Britain who was also a member of ZANU-PF. And he said the reason was when he moved to when he moved to Zimbabwe, in order to be a teacher, you had to join life membership of ZANU-PF.
For the best, yeah.
So he was also,
they got the best union.
So he was both a Conservative councillor and a Zimbabwean communist simultaneously. Anyway, I don't know where we're going with this show.
We love the show.
We'll be back in a moment. Get lost.
Fantastic.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Well, sometimes, even if you are an alcoholic, you can get drunk very quickly. Oh, sorry! No, can't be doing that. Can't be talking ill of my colleagues. Anyway, Beanface.
Beanface, do you think Rachel Reeves will be getting a Christmas present from Santa this year?
Oh, she's on the naughty list.
Is she?
Yeah. I think for many things, lying on her CV. I mean, come
lying on her CV.
All done it.
Are you Rachel Reeves? Is this you going to pull the mask off now and reveal it?
But was she an economist at the Bank of England or not? Never mind, that's an in-joke.
A decade doing something, but she wasn't.
But 6 years in a call centre going, hello, love, you want to press Control F. And then
what I do not understand about Rachel Reeves lying about her CV is this. I would much rather, if I'd worked at HBOS just before the financial crisis, I'd have much rather work on a till than have been an economist. So why would you lie about that? It's like saying, oh well, I worked for Townsend Torreson. Well, what did you work as? Oh, I'm going to pretend I was in charge of shutting the doors.
Yeah, but breaking the bank's probably brownie points with the Labour Party.
Exactly.
These days,
or you say you're an aquatic engineer when you're in charge of the dishwasher.
I was one of them, yeah.
What she actually did was did not leave her responsible for the collapse of HBOS, whereas what she claimed to do
and the reality is this: there are going to be so many people watching this programme who are a little bit scared and won't be calling her out because they too have lied on their CV. I guarantee.
You're liars.
What's the best lie on your CV?
The best lie on my CV is that this is the best interview I've ever done.
On my CV, it says under honours and awards.
Go on then.
Right, and this is true. It says joint recipient of the 2012 Nobel Peace Prize. And then it says, comma, along with every other citizen of the EU.
Oh,
which
fantastic.
Is completely accurate.
Congratulations.
It is true to say...
Oh, actually, it's all of us then.
It is true to say that we are all joint recipients of the 2012
So we are here. This is the reunion of the recipients. This is good.
Where's the money then? You get $1 million, don't you?
That way
it was given to the EU. I wrote to the EU Commission asking for my share of the $1 million.
How much will we get?
We didn't
get on Mr. Freeze each.
No, we could have done.
You wouldn't get a Mr. Freeze. There's 350 million people in the EU.
I get a bean. We can share a bean.
A penny chew.
Yeah, so I put joint recipients. And funnily enough, I went to this recruitment consultant and I said, do you think that's a good thing to put on your CV? And he said, for you, yes. He said, because people who laugh at that will like you. No. And people who don't laugh at that,
you won't work.
There's no point in interviewing you anyway.
But nowadays, and this is the problem, people going out into the workforce, they get AI to write their CVs for them. So you need this sort of sense of humour. I would absolutely endorse that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Show that you're a character. The way that things are going to happen now, people are lying about their CVs all the time.
So you're saying to people to commit fraud?
No,
as a barrister.
No, I'm telling people to be a bit more creative.
No, my favourite. You always used to read CVs when I was on the selection panel for the Conservatives, and it always used to say, it always go things like, when I was the Conservative candidate for Blackpool, I raised the Conservative vote by 20%, and then some people would write, I secured a credible result in a difficult year, which means lost badly.
It is extraordinary, those sort of wonderful moments. But you're right, but Blackpool's going to be renamed, obviously. What was interesting...
Racist.
Totally racist. What was interesting as well is that they just had
Pole of colour.
Miss World, there is now a traditionally attractive woman, and blonde hair and so on and so forth.
Well, Miss World does not have a penis.
Amazing.
I can't believe it.
Amazing.
They can do these days, can't they? I mean, that's probably one of the...
It goes back to snow people.
Well, yes. This is what I'm trying to help you out with. Oh, there she is. There's that kind of a governor. Hurrah!
Here's the worrying thing. The bloke in the bit with the Beanface thinks...
He's the most serious of all of us.
Yeah, I think you should get some...
What's that about?
You've got normal glasses on. You should have
he
like
hasn't
a knife
even
and
drunk
fork.
his milk. Hey, drink your milk. Drink your milk.
I've had the 2 pints.
You had your 2 pints.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I might try and make you some fork glasses.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, I just said it a minute ago. Why does he eat it? It's all my ideas.
It's like my line about...
A salt and pepper on the top, a sachet of HP and some vinegar, a couple of chips.
It's like my line about having 2 barristers on a show about a pair of briefs. And I understand somebody nicked that, you were telling me earlier.
Someone nicked your briefs?
So
someone stole his pair of briefs.
I think so.
And they're on eBay currently.
So I do a show with another barrister, and I called it a pair of briefs, because I thought that was very funny. I know it's like...
It is a bit old.
No, but somebody nicked it yesterday, is what you said.
Yeah.
The best joke that ever got nicked is tell the Peter Kay story.
Go on then.
No, I'll tell you.
Go for it.
I once said on air, how can you have cheese and cake? And Peter Kay, he's got a joke about that. And then he goes into the garlic bread.
Yes.
And now garlic bread, he doesn't get the joke, because the reason cheesecake doesn't work, because it's sweet and savoury, whereas everyone thinks garlic bread's delicious, don't they?
They do, but it's an elongated vowel.
You didn't even get the joke you nicked.
Yeah, so when I heard that story, I thought, the best bit is about this, Peter Kay has not only stolen your joke, but he's actually made it crap.
Yeah, and they just laugh because he says garlic bread, and because he's saying it funny. He makes it.
It's an elongated vowel. Elongated vowels are funny.
So he thinks the joke is that you've never heard of garlic bread before, but the actual joke is the sweetness of cake and the savouriness of cheese is madness.
Because a lot of comedians used to nick a lot of stuff because they'd listen to me and Wales from '95 when they were going home between 10 and 1.
There is nothing new in the world of comedy, and that's the reality. Everything's just reinvented.
Oh, I heard a brilliant joke.
Go on then.
Which was from Bobby Davro. Now I've got to.
We love Bobby.
Davro is not famous for being that funny, but he bloody is.
Oh, he is. He's hilarious.
He was funny. He's a natural funny bone.
The joke was this.
He's like the poor man's Freddie Starr.
He said, I've got a guard dog.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it lets burglars in whenever they want to come across my fence. It's a UK border collie.
See, that's brilliant. That is fantastic. He is brilliant, though. He's got a new act and he's fantastic.
Bobby is fantastic.
You will laugh your head off.
Unsung heroes. We've got to bring back Bobby.
His show in the 80s was funny, wasn't it?
He was very good at James's celebration for that wonderful award.
And we saw him a couple of weeks. He did the same act. He reiterated his act, but he has got new ones now.
Did you see this? What he said? He said, I was sat down.
Yes.
with my 2 sons and my daughter, and he said, one of my sons said, Dad, I've got to tell you, I'm gay. And he goes, all right, son. I was all right, never mind. And he goes, my other son goes, well, Dad, I've got to say to you, I'm gay as well. And he goes, Jesus, is there anyone in this house who likes Fanny? And his daughter goes, yeah, me.
By the way, Davro is in Isha and Panto this year.
Oh, no, he isn't.
With Peter Straker.
Where's your career behind you?
Who's behind him?
I remember when Patrick Christie's did that stripper thing.
Yes.
I was on the TV in the other place.
Yes.
And And Davro said on this show at like 8 o'clock at night, he goes, right, Andre, I think we should come to this stripper thing. All right, fine. And Patrick Chris is like, yeah, all right, man, no problem. You know the way he talks. And he goes,
Liam Gallagher.
What row? Do you want to sit on the front row? And Davro went, no, I want to see it, not smell it.
This is one of these shows. I used to have a career in legal stuff. It was always a joy.
You're the only lawyer I know where you can't Google the words Andrew Eborn and law, and anything comes up.
It's all the other broadcasting stuff. I know it's an extraordinary time, but it's fun.
So Bean, once again we haven't got it through your story.
Thank you.
No, but just before you go,
got the prop list.
Show this. Can I reveal this?
Beanie, before you go, what is the monster raving lip? Because they might actually win something at the moment.
They will win something.
Well,
what are you standing for?
Well, what would happen is if they do win,
yes,
the party leader resigns. That's the rule.
That's
the main rule. So he's agreed. No one's.
What is the name of your party leader?
So there's two. One is now.
So which one resigns?
Screaming Lord Such, you mean, isn't around, but he's still the leader.
Exactly. Whereas Lord Hope is the one that's in his late 80s now.
Late 80s?
Is
he the guy with the white hat and the
I love the late 80s.
Yes. I was at the Cameron election with a mate, Aaron Barshak, who stood, and I was there, and I was official vote monitor.
Oh, were you?
They roughed me up, security.
Because
I didn't have... I was an official monitor, and the security didn't believe it and started roughing me up. And I was with David Cameron when he became Prime Minister.
Yes.
Wow, you saw it happen.
Yeah. Well, sort of. I'd had a bit of vodka.
So what happens? So your leader has to resign?
Has to resign if any of us gets elected. We've never got more than 5% of the vote. So
never more than 5%, but 5% is good.
Well, we've never got our deposits back. So everyone loses their deposit. I mean, who's the loser? But there's 21 of us that ran in 2024 election, and none of us got it.
He's got one a fake tie on. Look, it's just come down.
It's the big reveal. The wooden tie.
Look at you. Is there anything real about you? You haven't drunk your milk.
Bean.
I think,
Bean, can I just say one thing? The deposit now is what, 500 quid?
That's a lot.
But that's just the start.
You could go on an all-inclusive, or whatever it's called, an all-inclusive holiday in Turkey.
You know, he's a heart surgeon in real life. You know, he's got to do an operation in the morning.
So who finances then? For 500 quid? Yeah. So you spent 500 quid. How much have you spent so far?
I did a few car boot sales and sort of.
You did.
Asked my mum. My mum was the main donor, 200 quid. So
your mum did. What's your mum called? What's
Amanda.
Amanda, you're proud of yourself.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
I'll tell you what, the usual way that it happens is that you do a slight misspelling of a name when you tap in.
They put a O as a zero.
Exactly, they've used that, you miss out a letter and so on and so forth. There will be people watching at home at the moment who would have suffered. It's one of those sort of things, and people are losing thousands as a result of it. So you're working on that sort of principle.
But what I want people to know, and the reason I've told the story about me getting ripped off by an Amazon seller who'd overpriced a genuine item, but also PayPal, is that I don't want anybody to think, oh, it's just stupid people who make this mistake. It absolutely isn't.
I know lots of people who are incredibly clever. This is why the fraudsters are so good at it. And I can tell you it's going to get worse. AI, which is my pet subject, I want to put the AI into Britain. What's going to happen, you can now imitate people's voices.
Yes.
You can get that sort of on that sort of basis and so on and so forth. So the reality is exactly that.
You're saying that we've all laughed at people who've kind of sent a message going, oh, I'm stuck in Barbados, send money. But in future, it might be your son phoning you up.
I can tell you, it's already happening. And we've had examples where you've had CEOs of major companies where they've basically been on a Zoom call and you think it's the CEO. And there's a case where they said, look, transfer X millions because I need it for this deal. They did it as a result of it. So there are people at home. So if it's too good to be true, it is.
They did that with mortgages, didn't they? They pretend they're from the bank and they transfer like $500,000 for it.
It's going to affect more and more people.
I had a friend of mine who was selling his mother's house and he phoned up the bank on the day. The estate agent, the solicitors on the day, and they said, oh, we got your email confirming the change of where the bank money needs to go.
Yes.
And
they went, what are you talking about, Willis?
Somebody had a keystroke thing on his computer, so they knew all of his passwords, and they'd emailed the listeners.
It's going to happen all the time, and there will be people watching at home who say this is familiar. And what I hate about this, they're preying on the particularly vulnerable. You get people like getting rid of their pensions, their life savings, and so on and so forth. If you're not sure about something, the best advice is also, if you're contacting the banks, will never ask you certain things to click here. Always double check, get the number that you got for your official person, and work on that basis.
Danielle, here's the big problem that I've got, and this was the thing with the Lego. Right, you've got to understand that a lot of people now, you've got to understand, I mean, you know this, a lot of people are buying presents for relatives, children, and they don't really know what this stuff is. So, you know, you end up buying. I mean, the number of times there was always standing jokes where grandma would buy something that was similar to the actual item, but she just got ripped off, and you had to sort of pretend. But it's soul destroying when you thought you bought a Man United shirt, but actually you bought some junk that the kid's just going to throw in the bin.
I think it's really cruel, and I think it's like you said, it's taking advantage of the fact that it's Christmas time, and maybe we're not quite too sure of exactly what's going on. And all you can do is kind of keep your eye on it, as we have done, and then call the bank, and at least it's been stopped that they don't have access to my bank details anymore. But there's not much awful lot you can do. Do you know what I will say though? Like, when it comes to big things, like I understand that you're on about with the big scams. Apparently, I had a friend who worked in fraud, dead interested. One of the biggest scams is actually what's called a heartbreak scam, which is basically where they get to know people over a period of time and essentially fall in love.
Oh, and they make the guy need an operation. I need an operation, it's 20 grand.
And apparently the problem is that even when the banks get involved, the people are like, no, we're having a relationship. And they're like, no, you're being scammed.
And they might even know they're being scammed in their head, but in their heart it takes over, doesn't it? They know they're being
emotional. But funnily enough, like you said, Andre, about the lady losing her temper, that's interesting you say that, because I was on the end of a scam, and again, I stopped it, like you say, about 15 years ago. It was a phone call from my Halifax bank account, and they kept asking me my date of birth, and I'm like, I'm not giving you my date of birth.
Oh, they get abusive.
Yeah, and he started to lose his temper with me, and he's like, you're going to get scammed if we're trying to stop you here. Anyone who loses their temper is a massive indicator that something is not quite right, because anyone working for a legit company will just go, all right, fine, whatever, bye.
And never give your codes over on the phone as well. The bank's never going to ask you stuff
the other thing that I feel quite sorry for you, or for any parent, is when it comes to Christmas, there are a lot of expenses out there. And you've got all these kids. You've got 4 kids to buy for, and you just think to yourself, for some people, if they only get the 100 quid back in January, they'll really have to scrimp and save and economise on what they're able to buy. Because I mean, if you're buying 5 or 6 presents and it's £50, £100 each, people don't have the money, do they?
You know what, Andre, you're exactly right, and that's where I'm annoyed at myself, because back in the day when money has been tight for Christmases, I'm very, very savvy. So I know about your Lego situation.
Yeah.
I also know another thing Amazon do is sell non-genuine Lego, which doesn't click together properly. I've fell for that in the past.
Yeah. So they should be more careful. I've had stuff on there, and you think, how does that?
I'll tell you the other thing. I would tell you about Amazon.
I mean, not Lego.
Do not touch
stickle bricks.
Do not touch the electronics on Amazon. It's all garbage.
Well, no, it's not all garbage. I've had some good monitor speak. It's not all garbage, but but you know, if it is, you can send it back. But there's too much fake stuff. There's fake stuff on there.
But Andre, you're right about people with money, and my only advice would be, as you're saying, because it's all right trying to get it back afterwards, but you need that. The thing is, if you're short of money, the only thing you can do is be really, really careful, because you're right. When I read back that email, there were letters missing, and the address didn't exist of the website. If I'd have just took another 5 minutes before making that decision.
Well, do you know the other great thing that people can do is, and this is a bit that is the elephant in the room that we haven't talked about, go to a shop Go and rattle the thing and
then buy it online for much cheaper.
Right.
But I've bought for my nieces. You remember the old Speak and Spell? The sort of American A. And anyway, I bought it, and you press an A, and it says J, and gets all the bloody letters wrong. Really rubbish. Anyway, that's it. We've got to go, Danielle. It's nice to see you, isn't it?
Nice to see you, Danielle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be back in studio soon.
Be safe out there.
That is Danielle Nichols, who is a broadcaster and also a victim of a Christmas scam. If you've got any Christmas scams, I'll tell you what, most people will not phone up, but we've all been brave enough to admit the mistakes that we've made. If you've got any really good examples, it'll really help the community that watch and listen
not
to
feel
this,
so stupid.
to know what scams are out there. 0344 499 1000. Back in a moment.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Right, it's tomorrow's papers today. Let's start with the Soaraway Sun, and there it is. Sir Rod, that's Rod Stewart. You humiliated my wife, you tubby, bald bully. And that's, that's not to James Wales, it's to the guy from MasterChef, Gregg Wallace, who's got allegations against him of doing some things at the BBC and being rude. But Sir Rod Stewart accused Gregg Wallace, this is in The Sun, of humiliating his wife, Penny Lancaster. She's also a policewoman, by the way, after the presenter left MasterChef yesterday. And apparently it was cut out of the edit, but the bits were, apparently he was not very nice. It emerged he faces misconduct complaints from 13 people. So Kirsty Walk is one of them. What do you think? Any thoughts about this?
Very, very simple, because I always hate trial in the media.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think that everybody's entitled to a fair trial.
Yeah, of course.
The facts will come out in due course. It's important to say that Gregg denies it.
It's all allegations.
And so it's all allegations. And I think we've always got to balance it. What I love about this show, it's always about shining more light and less heat on these matters. Very serious allegations. They will come out in full force. But trial by media, I disagree with.
Anna.
No, I mean, I completely agree.
We've got to, because I'm right. It's my job to be right.
It's very intimidating.
But hang on a second, Now, here's the thing that worries me. Right, there are 13 allegations. OK. Well, presumably that took some time for these allegations to come forward. Why not take action at the first one? Why does the BBC seem to always get this wrong?
No, I agree. And it almost looks, again, it's very, very too soon to comment because we don't know what's been said. We don't know the nature of these allegations. But what we can see is that the case has probably been being built against him for quite some time, especially with the amount that's come out. You know, again, why didn't this come out another one? Why
the
didn't
ring is the papers, it's the pressure that make The Sun with Hugh Edwards, and it was the Telegraph recently with another one. So there is a necessity
and
for the
that
press.
footballer, you might remember, he came on Talk Sport and they revealed that basically he'd been pushed out before the whole allegations had been investigated. The problem is always about the optics on this. It's too soon for certain situations to do this sort of stuff. Trial by media, as I always say, is wrong. We need to get the full facts. Everybody has to have a fair trial. Otherwise, I always say that trust comes in on foot and leaves on horseback. What you need to do is make sure we have trust in the justice system accordingly.
Well, it's just a BBC investigation, isn't it? It's not actually going to any
again,
courts.
it's got to go look on that sort of basis, see what's actually happened. When the facts are there, and report them appropriately.
Okay, and then...
I was going to say, I like how he stands up for his wife. Sir Rod is standing up for his wife.
He's shorter than his wife quite a lot, but still he's all right, isn't he, Rod? And TV Mulhern in hospital dash. Telly host Stephen Mulhern was taken to hospital after collapsing in a restaurant. He'd had a reaction to a local anaesthetic for a routine surgery hours earlier, so best wishes to him. And let's go to the Soaraway Times now.
The Soaraway Times. We spoke about this, didn't we?
Oh, yeah. Minister was convicted of fraud over stolen phone. A cabinet minister was convicted of fraud after police investigation involving stolen and missing mobile phones. The Times can reveal this is Reeves Haigh, the Transport Secretary, pleaded guilty to fraud She says she wasn't, though, and she had to plead guilty, which sort of doesn't really wash, does it? Once you're found guilty and you admit to it, you're guilty. What's your views on that?
My view, very simple, is that sometimes people have to do plea bargains, and there's so many miscarriages of justice. So if somebody's done a plea bargain...
Well, we saw with the riots, there was a couple of people didn't plead guilty, and they got let off. What was going on there? Because their briefs were telling them and advising them wrongly.
I've seen it, and I always say, if you're not guilty, you should never plead guilty.
Why are the briefs? Why are they advising them?
Well, sometimes it saves people money. Sometimes they think the court system may go against them with the evidence on there. I can tell you what happened.
They said you'll get longer inside.
When I was a baby barrister, you often get given the cases they think were no-hope cases. And I remember one particular client, without disclosing client identity, had 9 witnesses against them. Their particular solicitor had advised them to plead guilty. And I sat down with this guy and said, well, look, tell me your version of events. And actually his version of events was entirely consistent with all the different witnesses. And I said, well, did you do it? And he said, no, I didn't. So if that's
But he was found guilty. He got a lot longer, though. No,
I got him off. Yeah. I've never lost a case. I got him off, and we worked on the basis it would have been a terrible miscarriage of justice if people plead guilty when they're not guilty. So Louise has got to come out and say, look, OK, the optics on this are terrible. It was 2014, 10 years ago this happened. I always say that everything you've ever said, everything you've ever done, every photograph you've ever had taken with anybody will come out at some stage. Make sure you handle that narrative. She must have known this. The people involved around her must have known this. It was going to come out. So what she's now saying, that needs to be looked at properly. Let's hear her version. But again, as we said in yesterday's show, it's almost yesterday, beginning of this show, what happened is that the optics on this are awful.
That doesn't affect the Labour government. No one actually resigns or gets sacked.
But hang on a sec. All right, but here are the definite facts. And I heard her statement. Right, so what she says is, she says that she was mugged. I'm sure that's right. No reason. I don't think anybody believes that she was mugged. But she thought her work phone had been stolen at that time. She later realised the phone hadn't been stolen. But when she turned it on, the police then found it. So remember, that will be... You don't turn it on, the police immediately knock on your door. Yes. What happens is she turns it on, then doesn't mention it to her employers at all. For a period of time, her employers investigated this and sacked her because they believed that she stole their phone.
And there's all sorts of questions about that, because normally if you're travelling, if you've been mugged, maybe you have your phone on you. Did she have it on at the time? Would you switch your phone off? There are so many questions that need to be answered. Simple advice I would give her is, Louise, answer those questions, control the narrative, and make that make sense. Don't you agree, Anna? Thank you.
But I would say, I'm sorry, and by the way, because she's pleaded guilty, this is different to Gregg Wallace. I'm sorry. My reading of this is that what has happened is she has genuinely been mugged. She didn't have her work phone on her, and she thought, this will be a good way to have a free mobile phone. Now, look, at the end of the day, people will go, oh, can you say that? Yes, you can, because she's pleaded guilty. The reality is, I believe she stole the phone. Now, the court believes she stole the phone. She pleaded guilty to stealing the phone, and her employer sacked her for stealing the phone. I know of nobody who, when they get mugged, forget their mobile phone wasn't stolen.
Also, if it was genuine, I think you would never plead. You'd explain, and the court would believe you because you wouldn't be lying.
So what I would like is tomorrow, or even tonight, if Louise is watching, she never misses an episode when we're on.
Correct.
Phone up and tell us what really happened. If this is not right, in the papers, it's going to carry on this story. Control the narrative. Tell us what really happened.
OK, Anna, anything to add to that? No, you just agree with Andrew, don't you?
I just want to be very clear on one other thing. What Andrew was saying earlier is quite right. There shouldn't be a trial by media. However, the facts of this case have been established in the court.
And it is interesting. And we had... You missed a great episode. I know you had problems with your training and things like that. You missed a great episode. One of the highlights of my career I had in your seat, and it's probably still moist. We had Mr. Beanhead.
You're not allowed to say moist anymore.
What's the milk? You missed the milk. And you worked on that basis. And as a result of being on the show, he lost his deposit. And I've got his deposit here. This is Mr. Beanhead's deposit.
Oh, wow.
You're working on that sort of basis. This is what he asked me to
So why have you got beans?
Because he gave them to me. This is his deposit. He's lost his deposit. I don't know. They were loitering in Talk TV.
He needs to get beans back.
They're the wrong type of beans.
They are the wrong type of
By the way, Osborne...
Yes.
Former Chancellor George Osborne and 2 other partners have had a windfall of £30 million after record profits.
That's only 10 million each. What are they going to do? Heating and eating, that's their problem this Christmas.
Royal tribute to Prince and Princess of Wales said it was an honour to have met Liz Hatton, 17, the keen photographer from Harrogate, who died from cancer on Wednesday.
A touching story, and I think the more... people who knock the royals, the good things they do...
This is what it's about.
Exactly. When they can use their position to talk about things in the public eye that affect a lot of people, that humanity shines through. So well done to them.
Well, I think there's been so much discourse about them recently, especially particularly with Kate and William.
Yes, you've met William.
I have met Prince William.
It was between you and Kate, wasn't it? I remember that the last moment, that's what happened. She was telling me earlier.
She got offered Harry, but she weren't interested.
But really, so a lot of people, they've been focusing on Prince William and Kate and photos them together, saying their relationship's falling apart and everything.
Nonsense.
But you know what? I think this is the point of the royals, is standing up for important causes. Yes. That's something that Prince William and Prince Harry used to do together before they had that big falling out. That was something they were united in, and I think people should have more of a focus on that.
Excellent. Well, we've got to take a little break here, and we've got plenty more of those tomorrow's papers today, so stay tuned.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
It's Andrew and Ash, it's Talk, and we've got Anna and Andrew here. And it's tomorrow's papers today, The Independent, and we've got the story about Gregg Wallace, which we just talked about, but also PM blames Brexit and Tory open borders as net migration nears 1 million. That's in 1 year up to June 2023. So basically, a country the size of Scotland or Wales every 3 or 4 years we need to make with all the facilities. Keir Starmer has accused the Conservatives of using Brexit to run an experiment in open borders after figures revealed that nearly 1 million people had entered in the UK in 2023. The Prime Minister described the figures as shocking and pledged to take a tough approach, of course you will, to bring the numbers down. His comments came as net migration. Anyway, 906,000 a year. What does your generation think, Anna? Because you are the future and you've got to live with all this.
Our generation.
You too. What do you think, Anna?
You know what? I think it's terrifying, and especially in what we're seeing in London as well. We're seeing an increase of migrant criminal gangs.
Well, you're seeing it on the streets. You can't deny it now. You can see it everywhere.
They're eating the swans.
That's what happened a few weeks ago to me with my phone when I was just sat in a Starbucks working on my laptop.
I hate people who do that.
Yeah,
well, that's what I did.
They made one coffee for 5 hours. She sat there for years.
Sorry, go on.
And I'm sat there, and this foreign man comes up to me, speaking in a language I cannot understand, and starts shaking a newspaper right in my face and sort of shouting in this language, and I don't understand. I'm saying, I don't understand you. Can you go away? And he's not going away. He's shaking the newspaper right in front of me. I'm really confused, and so I sort of shout, like, please, like, go away. And he runs out of the Starbucks, and I look down. The phone is gone.
So he's
shaking. So yeah, he's shaking the newspaper, so I can't see what he's doing.
And have you had other things? I know Alex gets problems now. She says it's from people from abroad, starting with her. And do you get harassment? Are you scared to get, public transport?
So, even where I live in Reading, you've got. So actually, a couple of weeks ago, I was filming in Reading when there were Just Eat drivers from a different country.
Did somebody say Just Eat? Yeah, sorry, carry on.
So 7 of them, and I'm filming on the high street when one of them starts coming up to me and speaking very broken English, trying to ask me out, and all of his friends are filming me and laughing their heads off, and then when I say please go away, they all start following me on their Just Eat bikes.
But that's very scary. That's scary. And what did you do? Did you call the police?
Horrible.
Well, so to be fair, I walked away for a while and they sort of dispersed.
But that's very intimidating.
But it's just, I think it's the thing when we walking down the high street, you just feel a bit exposed.
And you're grown up. They might do that to a 14-year-old girl. I mean, even you, it's bad. But imagine it. Yeah, but that's what's happening.
I'll tell you what's really awful. What they often do is the distraction. They sort of put something in front of you like that, and then they nick your phone.
Yeah.
That is what happens. They'll put something like that.
Is your phone still there?
Pardon?
Is your phone...
Oh, where's it gone?
You see, you're falling for it again.
So you're falling for it again.
So I will say, one thing I'll say.
Yeah.
So I luckily had Find My Phone on here, and I got the address. So actually, a few hours later, it pops up in this London address. My dad drove down and knocked on the house.
It was at Reeves Haig's house.
Did the same person answer, or was it a different...
So there was a few of them that answered because they all operate together, and he knocked on the door and demanded the phone back. And after some no phone, what's his phone?
Did you make it ring? Did you make it ring or something? You could have made a noise at the time.
So they switched it on for about a second and then switched it off again. But luckily, it was enough time for the GPS signal to come up. But then, he's at the door, and finally, I think they just in the end decide we'll give back the phone. And they admitted to selling it for £200.
If you went to the police with that information, you go, we know it's in there. They don't do anything.
I did go to the police.
But they won't go there, will they?
Because I'll tell you what happened. There's a lot of phones actually. This is the problem. There's a lot of people. I was outside the BBC, and I had somebody came up behind on a bike, and they tried to grab my phone. Fortunately, I held on to it. I phoned straight away the police, and I said, look, there's CCTV cameras everywhere.
They're not interested.
And they said, well, you're the umpteenth person who's reported. You're very lucky you still got your phone. This is the problem. This is why we should talk about that sort of thing. That's a standard ploy, what it shows you when they put the papers down and take your phone from your desk. You've got to watch out. In the same way as Danielle wisely spoke about the terrible scams that she had, lots of people being ripped off. Just be careful out there. But the police are not doing enough.
No. And what annoys me, and Andrew, I've said this to you before, it annoys me when the police go, well, it's not a serious enough crime. Yes, but it's not 500 different people. It's one person doing it 500 times.
And the problem with nicking phones is not so much the phone itself, which you can get insurance for, it's getting access to your data. And so often they will have your bank details and bits and pieces, all these bits and bits. So all of the
And when they nick it, it might be unlocked if it's in your hand.
And what worse than that, sometimes they will contact you and force you to give the PIN, or they would force you to do your face identity. So just be really careful out there. Don't hold your phone out, because there's so much it's got worse.
By the way, if you go on my Twitter, which is Andre JP Walker, I've tweeted a video about the Romanian gang that's shoplifting in Britain. They hit Morrison's for £130,000. The total cost of illegal migrants to everyone in shoplifting is £133 each a year. So anyway, check out @VirtualAsh, check out Andre JP Walker. Are you guys staying with us for a bit?
Check out @Andrew Eborn. Check out
Anne McGovern UK.
03444991000 to call us or leave us a WhatsApp message on our answer machine. 87222. Text the word talk if you want to, and anything else before we go into the news?
No.
I just want to say @VirtualAsh and @Andre JP
More
Walker.
papers are in a bit.
Again.
@Andrew Eborn.
Back.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
All right, it's Talk with Andre and Ash. Andrew's gone. He turns into a pumpkin at midnight, but Anna's still here, so we're going to carry on with the papers.
I'm going to do my hair while you're talking.
He's going to do his hair. Let's look at The Guardian. MP behind assisted dying bill makes final appeal before vote, and it's on a knife edge, apparently, with 100 thought to be undecided, and it's a private member's bill, so there's going to be no whipping. Well, not that. The usual whipping will go on in the dungeons, but, it's on a knife edge, so we've talked about it earlier. And Kiev faces meteorite threat from Moscow with it's a missile that apparently it's they focus loads of these weapons in one point, and it can be as powerful as a nuclear missile.